Hey everyone, these are the top 5 scariest TV creepypastas ever written. Number 5 is Happy Appy. Happy Appy was the title of a fictional Nick Jr. show that aired only briefly in 1999, but was quickly taken off the air. The show featured a main character that resembled a clay apple held up by a popsicle stick. The entire premise of the show was that Appy would go around visiting kids who were hurt or sick and give them fruits or band-aids to help them feel better. The show was meant to teach kids how to deal with real-life situations that they would often face. As the show went on, however, things gradually became darker. Appy went from a clay apple on a popsicle stick to a freaky demon apple on a rusty iron spike who would stare deeply into the camera in complete silence for uncomfortably long periods of time. The show turned kids getting minor boo-boos into kids getting injured in tragic accidents and often in gruesome ways. Number 4 is Dead Bart. This lost episode of The Simpsons starts out fairly ordinary. It begins with the Simpsons family taking a plane trip overseas and Bart is fooling around as usual. This time, however, there are deadly consequences. Bart breaks the plane window and is sucked out, falling to the ground below. The episode ends with Bart's funeral. What's creepy is that the graveyard is filled with tombstones marking people who have guest starred, some of whom hadn't even been featured yet, including Michael Jackson. What's even creepier is that the dates of their deaths are also listed on the headstones, all of which are correct, even if the person in question wasn't dead at the time. That's creepy. Number 3 is Candle Cove. Candle Cove was a TV show only on local stations. People only started talking about it when someone posted about it on an online forum. It was met with other people who shared similar memories. The show was about pirates, but the characters were much too dark to be shown on children's television. On top of that, there is an extension of the story that may not be necessarily true. But that sure is creepy. Some versions of the story involve kids having recurring nightmares or becoming ill as a result of the show. What's more, the parents of said children, who may or may not exist, attest that the children weren't watching anything at all, just static. Number 2 is Ed, Edd and Eddy. Lost episode. The classic Nickelodeon show Ed, Edd and Eddy was extremely popular in the 90s and thousands and fills many with nostalgia even to this day. However, there is a story that there was a lost episode which many people apparently remember watching and took to online forums immediately after the episode aired to discuss it. The episode consisted of a series of still frames in terrible quality. The first featured Eddie with a murderous look on his face, complete with red-eyed, who leads Ed with one D down the street. Ed is crying. Other shots show Ed with two Ds lying in his bed, crying, and one of the characters being swallowed by a baby who suddenly emerges from beneath the couch. So that's just a crazy episode. And number 1 is Squidward's Suicide. A show as popular as among both kids and adults as SpongeBob SquarePants is bound to rife with many horror stories written by fans. However, there is one that sticks out the most among the others. The story concerns a Nickelodeon intern who is selected to view a SpongeBob episode before it airs. What he sees disturbs him. Squidward has actually landed himself a gig and is performing in Bikini Bottom that night. The first thing that sticks out to the intern is that every character had photorealistic eyes, which make for a pretty creepy images. Squidward performs and is booed by the entire town. He cries and goes home as demonic whispers and faint laughter play in the background. Disturbing video archival footage from God knows where is briefly shown, and by the end of the episode, Squidward is dead in a very graphic manner. And that is, anyways, guys. Those are 5 scary TV creepypastas ever written. If you want to see a part 2, let me know. Anyway, subscribe on your way out. Subscribe